This is part 2 of our series, Dignity's Urgent Call. If you haven't listened to part 1, we really encourage you to do that first. But if you don't have time, let me remind you of the questions we're trying to answer in this podcast. Is there a plan to restore dignity to our Muslim nation? Are we training our youth to defend only, or to build and lead? When do we move from reaction to responsibility? Last time, Adel and I talked about people who accepted oppression and how the angels rebuked them. Today, we'll continue, starting from the point where Allah commanded Muslims not to live under oppression. Can you explain why Allah commanded Muslims not to live in a land where they are oppressed?
Okay. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah's condition was to seek the dignity of our ummah, of Muslim ummah. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in an authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim, narrated by Umar ibn al-Khattab, the main factor of our deeds is intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. And Allah will reward each person based on their intention. وَإِنَّمَا لِإِمْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave examples and said, فَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. That means, if someone immigrates to make Allah's words and His messenger's message the highest, Allah will hold them accountable for this. وَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتَهُ لِدُنْيَا يُصِيبَهَا أَوْ امْرَأَةٍ يَتَزَوَّجَهَا فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى مَا هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِ. But if someone immigrates for other reasons, like worldly gains or marriage, Allah will only judge them based on their actual goals. Actions are judged by intentions between us and Allah. This shows us that our actions should be pure and sincere.
I understand now, but not all immigrants think this way. I think there are multiple and diverse goals. Can the orientation of immigrants in Western countries be categorized?
Yes, they can. From my point of view, and I may be wrong, that we have divided into two main sections in these countries, the Western countries. One part of Muslims is seeking personal worldly gains. And the second part, or the second section, which contains good, is those who try to defend the Muslims and Islam. Although, as I mentioned, there is good in that. But where is the main group that Allah referred to in the previous verses? And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam referred to in the hadith of Al-Amalu bin-Niyat. Where are those who are trying to build the glory and the strength of Islam as Allah requested and with the correct intention? Actually, they are few. We see many among us who have achieved the successes, mashallah. But are these successes for the sake of making the word of Allah supreme, or to be at a better level and gain greater worldly gains only?
Is it forbidden, or even disliked, to pursue worldly things, such as prestigious positions, money, or advanced degrees?
No, it's not forbidden to aim higher or achieve more, but the intention must always be for Allah. Then, the question becomes, where is your contribution to making the word of Allah supreme? Review your heart, renew your aim. Refining the intention is always possible and always needed.
I understand. They're all good goals, but we must make our intention for Allah.
Not only the intention. This must appear in your actions. An intention without work, when the work is possible, is incomplete. But the intention alone, when the action truly isn't possible, is counted as a good deed, inshallah. So, where is your support for Islam? When will we move from defense to initiative, from being victims to being agents for a change? When will nations look up to us as Muslims for inspiration, not bury?
Powerful. But in your view, whose responsibility is it to make such transformation possible?
Oh, great question. This is the task of today's Muslim youth. With the help of all of us, But often, instead of empowering them, we teach them to defend, to react. And that honestly implants a victim mindset in our children. And it is dangerous.
What's dangerous about that exactly? What happens when youth carry a victim mentality?
Let me give you some thoughts on that.
Please do.
You see, when someone grows up thinking, the world is against me, they start to interpret everything that way.
You mean they begin to see enemies even where there aren't any?
Exactly. That's what I mean by a destructive worldview. They believe Islam is always under attack, so life becomes a battlefield.
That's bleak. What else happens?
Then comes what I call the helplessness cycle. They feel trapped, like they can't change anything, so they stop trying.
So that helplessness leads to inaction?
Right. Reduce action. They lose motivation even when a change is possible.
And I suppose that's when blaming others begins?
Yeah, they start blaming outside forces, the system, the society, the media. It becomes a habit that prevents honest self-reflection.
That sounds common.
Yeah. Then they begin to misread situations. Neutral expressions or events become proof that someone's attacking them. When that mindset sets in, logical problem solving just dies.
That's true. I've seen it.
Finally, avoiding responsibility, they shift blame constantly. And the scariest part, sometimes this mindset grows into justifying aggression, thinking they are fighting injustice when they are actually repeating it. Some groups, because they have been wronged at some point, believe they have the right to harm others. This is clearly evident in Israel's dealings with others. They show no hesitation in antagonizing and fighting everywhere, using the victim mentality as a pretext for harming others. We don't want this to ever be our case like those people.
That's a sobering chain of thoughts. Honestly, it doesn't sound like a list. It sounds like real life.
It is. And that is the point. This mindset isn't hypothetical. It is something we see every day in moderate and extreme forms.
Adel, that's deep. I feel like this conversation will leave many thinking, maybe even uncomfortably.
If it makes us think, that is good. Reflection is the start of a change.
Agreed. Thank you, Adel. We'll pick up from here next time about how to build the mindset of confident Muslims who serve, lead, and inspire others.
That's going to be an interesting discussion, inshallah. See you then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.